it's not surprising that the nice things become NFTs. It's like things that become energy, like become pixels, this is the Aquarius, who will have more innovation. Uranus right now is in Taurus, so it's doing until 2026 a shift of values, that we will start valuing things in another way. And one of the things that I'm repeating, saying, we need to remember wealth of health, and it's always right, but now it's become even more, I think, how is important to be drug-free as possible. We are all addicted to something, but at least not from the pharmaceutical industry as possible. We need to find our uniqueness.
With no limitations, what does your perfect day look like? What if it's possible to live like that every day? Would you wake up after 9 a.m, have perfect health, maybe fire your boss, have the money and freedom to do what you love most? The world is your oyster. Where would you be? Who would you be with? The possibilities are endless. Whether you believe it's possible for you or not, you can make more, work less, and live free. Welcome to Freedom Hack Radio, where entrepreneur, best-selling author, world traveller and adventurer Bryce Robertson and special guests crack the code on money, health, relationships, spirituality and having fun doing what you love most. Be inspired to create your own self-designed freedom lifestyle.
Welcome back to another episode of Freedom Hack Radio. I'm your host, Bryce Robertson, and today, my friends, we have an extra special guest to share with us how we can tie together astrology, finance, and also understand the new paradigm of money. And to join us today, we have Osha. Osha is the developer of the astro-finance method and Escopia CEO, where he uses astrology as a practical tool to reflect on the economy and geopolitical events. Osha's YouTube channel, called Osha Astro-Finance, is designed to increase human consciousness and to help people connecting with their divine mind. Osha also hosts private membership groups on patreon.com called Osha Escopia, where he provides world weekly astrology updates, his predictions on cryptocurrencies and commodities. And I'll tell you from my experience, he has an astonishing ability to be extremely close with accuracy. And Osha, I'm really, really excited to have you here today on Freedom Hack Radio. Welcome, brother.
Hello, a pleasure being here.
Excellent.
What a beautiful introduction.
Well, thanks a lot, man. I know that you travel all over the world, and for our freedom hackers out there, you know, Osha lives a true freedom lifestyle. I mean, this year I've seen you in Portugal, Spain, Central America, South America. Where you tuning in from today, brother?
I'm speaking from Brazil, and this is a very sensitive topic to begin because we are feeling that the border is closing on us with so many new restrictions and limitation. And it's a bit depressing, to be honest, because it's about a shift of a paradigm that actually we are forced to experience. And no one is really have a free pass to skip some of those paradigm shifts. And yeah, so indeed, I'm traveling for many years between places. It's also part of my nature, my curiosity to know how to expand through another cultures, through meeting myself even in other environments, contributed a lot to my growth and to feel independent, simply. For me, independent is the ability to be always updated, finding new ways to go through obstacles and challenges, rather than choosing the easy way to stay in one place, to do the regular job. Even that I sacrificed a few times in the last 20 years, good jobs that just stay and build like everybody, big part of the capitalistic state of mind. And I didn't take it. For me, freedom has much more value than money. And I learned through moving around the world that I can live with much less and experiencing much more. What people are expecting, that one day I would retire, I would go I will start living and to see the world. It's like it's always seemed to me like a very bullshit promise.
It's very
And
backwards. It's very
yeah.
backwards. We can live now. And, you know, right now, I mean, you're definitely taking some risks to have from freedom, traveling all over the world. Respect, man. We're going to talk a lot more about that as this conversation unfolds. But I really, really want to start off, Osha, at a place I always love to start off. And what's given you the most gratitude today, brother?
Wow. It's a very good question. My health, my languages, my ability to walk, to fly in foreign places and to feel home. I'm the resident of the world, that I find my comfort zone quickly enough in different places. It's giving me confidence, like the eagle that trusts its wings.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, before we dig into these juicy topics that we're going to cover today, can you please unpack for us your journey as an astrologer and when you were first introduced to astrology and how you came to create astro-finance and ecoscopia?
Yeah. So astrology and mysticism was part of my very early stage. When I was 12 years old, I came to the word astrology, realized that I'm Gemini, and since then started reading all the astrology books that came to my hands, developed and studied different other mystical approaches, even reading palms, reading faces, graphology, numerology, all what helped me to understand myself and understanding others in a dimension that I could not learn from parents or teachers on the mundane level.
Mm.
And it always was in the background. I tried to develop in my teenage time some music career and learned playing piano. And then my father always said, this is not the future. And I decided, so I will go to study something in university, and did my engineering degree and then another degree of business management. I was very proud to have those certifications, even that I realized quickly after that I could invest time and money differently to things that I really believe and want. I never introduced those certifications to anyone, even for those good jobs that I found. They just did the interview and needed me as experience. And in 2002-3, exactly after the eclipse, as we just had now, last days, I quit it from Hewlett Packard. Hewlett Packard bought the company where I worked in Israel, Indigo, and just decided to start my therapy clinic. This was just the beginning of the new age. When people say I'm a therapist, usually they refer to massage of different techniques. And I started like this, and I developed on this quickly through in 10 years, different approaches for helping in emotional level, mental level, spiritual level. And then the latest part of it is I studied with Jeff Levine a technique that's called body alignment technique. And then I developed, it came to my mind like quantum medicine. It was something very futuristic. And with this therapy, I started traveling the world. I realized that I'm going to do my videos of my approach in English and in Spanish. And this was my first cards to offer and to open myself to another crowd. And mostly I lived in Spain for the last between 2013 to 2017. And something happened in 2016, and I always parallel to my therapist career, I was investing in the stock market. I always had a background hobbies or how I'm focusing my point of interest. And I was very much into economy all the time that even I was doing therapy. And I invested actually the money of a house that I bought in my 20s without mortgage that I sold in a very bad time in 2007 in the crisis. And
Ouch.
It was a start of a bubble in Israeli real estate. But I sold it, and this was the money that sustained me for almost 12 years, I would say. But in 2015, I lost the last amount that what created for me sort of safe, security. And I learned to live even more on low budget, because all the time, even I didn't want to touch this money. And it was a big pain because the money that I lost was much bigger than the money that I allowed myself to spend. And it was a pivotal timing in 2015-16. And then I started very carefully to start checking astrology for finance. And I said, okay, now I don't have any more money to invest, but I'm going to start sharing what I'm actually finding. And I did it on the same time, studying it and sharing my knowledge, how I'm trying to learn from the past patterns, and very slowly come on something. In 2017, even the late 16, I started mentioning the Bitcoin concept. And I always felt like misunderstood because I spoke in different forums of investing.com, in other places, that people laughed at me. What, you're speaking astrology? I spoke some names of Uranus, Saturn. The people even didn't know about the names of the planets. Like, I felt like, to who I'm trying to help here with above the technical analysis and the common sense consultation. But once I started speaking about crypto, this happened in 2017, suddenly I noticed that more people are open to this. Like I detected suddenly inside a path that I'm start taking. Once I came on the crypto world, I realized that the people that seeing the future could actually be more open to astrology. And now we're seeing even to more mysticism. And this was a great portal. And then I opened the Patreon channel to start supporting this work, because I just exactly on this time, I moved to a very small place in Spain, and I could not even find clients to come to therapy. And I felt already that I need to move out from therapy. So it was like a very hard, bumpy transaction from one career to another. And through time, developed a very nice community. And yeah, and through this support, I actually improved a lot the astro-finance method, and very proud. I also developed inside this what I called astro-finance algorithm, because the way that I'm doing the forecast are combining a mixture of ingredients in universal laws in a way. If I'm combining somehow technical analysis in this, but mostly working with a Fibonacci grid that is still based on the gold law. And it's a sort of a language. And this was a purpose, like what the money I lost, now I will help others not to fall to the trap, because I always felt like someone is seeing my position and playing against me, until I realized that, no, this is a super consciousness. This is something that if I will connect to the astrology mind, I could hack it in a way, or I could be protected in a way. So yeah, crypto space was the winner card to change everything, even for finding the right crowd, taking astrology to next level. Something also happened to the masses, and it seems that more people are considering astrology as never before. It's much easier to connect with this, even in mundane conversations. And Ecoscopia is just to be part, since the New World Order began realizing that if we need the next steps, how we are going to act with a system, we need to use the structure, the business structure, and to become a company in order to, it's like creating a cloud that is protecting you. I'm not using a company, I'm not having an expectation of being any sort of company or with offices. It's just sort of a structure that helping to install the next sort of investing or interaction with other services. I don't know even how to.
Yeah, and I really appreciate all of what you've got to share. Like, one thing that I wanted to share quickly with our Freedom Hack is why I think what you've got to share is so important today, and actually how I clicked and joined the dots myself by coming across you. And I actually started by reading this book here called 0 Hour by Harry Dent. And he's a macroeconomist, and he studies cycles. And he's talking about all these cycles, and he's talking about real estate cycles, stock market cycles, social economic cycles. And he's saying that some of these cycles cross over and lap over and happen at the same time. And right now we're at this very, very special time in history where tons of these cycles are actually crossing over. And I'm just going to read just some of the historical events that have happened previously on the cycles that we're actually facing right now, so people can understand the capacity of some of the things that we're going through, and then how you can tie these things together in astrology. And some of the events that happened was Martin Luther nailing his 95 thesis to the church door in the biggest religious rebellion of all time, the Mayflower setting sail from England, the 1720 South Sea and Mississippi bubbles, the American Revolution, the French Revolution, the 1848 to 1850 revolutions of Europe, the US Civil War, the First World War, the 1929 crash, the rise of Hitler, the Second World War, the atomic bomb, the Arab oil crisis, the impeachment of Richard Nixon, the beginning of free floating currency trading, the 1987 crash, and the global financial crisis of 2007 to 2008. And then I came across you, and I realized that, yes, these cycles are happening, but the bigger picture behind it is there's astrological cycles that are happening at the same time as these are happening, so that we can find out the indications of things that may happen in the future. And when I found this out, my mind was just absolutely blown away. And I just really appreciate all that you put together and all you're bringing together for us.
Listen, this is very, very interesting indeed, because astrology is a science of time, or cycle of time, that we can learn. It's like part of the nature. It's like observing phenomena of the nature. Like every boy will learn about the east, the west, sunrise, sunset, the 4 seasons, and it will change depend on where you are living in the world. A child born in Costa Rica and never traveled will be very weird to imagine that sunrise can happen sometimes at 8 a.m. and in other places in 5 a.m. because in Costa Rica, example, it's always from 6 to 6. But it's about opening the perspective to how our Earth is behaving related to the sun and the cycles. And we can go also zoom out with the planet, with our solar planets, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Mercury, Venus. They are each one create a cycle. And if we are starting to measure and to dance with those wheels that are surrounding, we could find and detect some parallel points and to learn from the past to project on the future. The timing that we are entering right now is very super intense, and I will scan some of those examples. For example, Uranus has a cycle of around 75, 78 years around the sun. So we are speaking the last time that Uranus was in this position in Taurus was when Hitler came to power, and the 30s that weren't very easy in the world. And then we could go before this and again to check what happened 150 years ago. Neptune is having a cycle of around 140 years. And the last time that it was in this location was in the 1856. And It's what led to the Civil War and the witch hunt story and the smallpox and different not nice events. And also the half cycle of Neptune is when the Second World War happened. So they are right now aligned, Uranus aligned with something that's related to the Second World War, and Neptune. This sort of the example that we can take each planet and to see where it was in the last time, to understand the timing we are now, what energy we are getting right now, and why it's so intense. We are also changing paradigm right now. We could not do a copy paste because we understand the technology is different and we are in another level of the game. And in December 2020, Jupiter and Saturn, they met in Aquarius. And when the great conjunction, Jupiter and Saturn, it's called the great conjunction, it's happening every 20 years. It's also helping us understanding what is going to be success in the next 20 years. In the last 20 years, since 2000, and I think even prior to this also, they met in Taurus. So what is Taurus? It's about money, it's about real estate, it's about accumulating. Who has more things will be successful. The cycle that is starting now, that started in the beginning of this year, that we are ending now, just happened in the 0 degrees of Aquarius. So it's even very interesting to discuss about it, because from the sidereal point of view, which is the perspective of observation from Earth up, they met in Capricorn. But from the tropical astrology, they met in the 0 degrees of Aquarius. So let's go with this tropical. Aquarius is about innovation, is about knowledge. Adding to this, that Pluto will move in 2020, in the end of 2023, also to Aquarius, and will activate the spot in sky where the great conjunction happened. It will be for me the official entry to the era of Aquarius. Now, Aquarius is about high technology, space, astronauts, astrology, knowledge, smart contracts, robots, and all the innovation thing that we can hear often. But also the negative side of Aquarius is no emotions, like you are shopping from a bot, no human, because the opposite of Aquarius is Leo. Leo is heart. So this is no heart, this is a bot.
Like the metaverse.
Yes. And this is about, it's all about database. Database is very much Aquarius, but it's about knowledge. Who will have more database, more data will have control. It's like about success. That's why they are trying. And this is the great agenda, the COVID, how they help or to be their tool to collect all data possible from everybody, to coordinate everybody with all the antennas, everything. This is the data, they're creating the network. And also Aquarius is speaking about network. The negative side of this is also communism, because the good side of Aquarius is communities, creating a sort of a communism in a way that everybody will have the same, or everybody are sharing the same. It's about equality, but they will take it with all the data they are collecting to make everybody the same or access the same things. So we need to understand, first of all, in what paradigm we are entering, because it's just a baby degree and it's going to last. And we will need to go with very advanced technologies in order to succeed in this. As people learned in the great conjunctions that happened in Taurus, also to accumulate things, all the Airbnb concept, it's very Taurus thing, who is offering more comfortable and nice things. It's not surprising that the nice things become NFTs. It's like things that become energy, like become pixels, this is the Aquarius, who will have more innovation. Uranus right now is in Taurus, so it's doing until 2026 a shift of values, that we will start valuing things in another way. And one of the things that I'm repeating saying, we need to remember wealth of health, and it's always right, but now it's become even more, I think, how is important to be drug-free as possible. We are all addicted to something, but at least not from the pharmaceutical industry as possible. We need to find our uniqueness. And this is another thing that is happening in astrology right now, that Chiron is in Aries, and Chiron is speaking about the wound that needs to be healed. And Chiron has a cycle of 50 years. So what is Aries? Aries is about identity and expression. So everybody right now cannot express themselves because they covered face. And we are already seeing a sort of a communism by appearance, actually trying to take the beauty of Taros. Taros is very much also the face. How you recognize a person of famous, how celebrities are trying to hide themselves. They are trying to hide the face. So it's like we become all the same. It's just data, your number, or certifications of something. But this is a pain of not being able to speak quickly. Also, all the censor. But this is the Chiron in Aries, and all the children that come to the world around this time will have Chiron in Aries. So we'll understand where the wound came from, but not being able to express themselves freely. But I try to cross two lines that what I started before. We need to hack this and to work with energy is to not forget our uniqueness, to be different. You don't want to be similar to other people. You want to find way even to look like a crazy, putting rings here and there and tattoos just in order to break the status quo. It's like find a crazy way to express yourself or to be different and to connect with the rest, but not to appear as everybody. But this is now a fear that people don't want to break the lines. This is like very strong energies about it. So I don't know if I
speak
answered.
to, so like you're talking about the old paradigm of money is accumulate, collection, thinking about self, and then like moving into the new time, the new dimension that we're moving into. I know you speak a lot about community and you speak about contribution and you speak about, yes, taking care of yourself, but also taking care of the whole as well. Can you speak to that for us?
Yeah, it's very challenging. I'm also trying. We are all in this paradigm shift, and even I can express it. It takes time until you feel it. That is really for you, for me, because Aquarius is also about knowledge. But it's not just knowledge that you will remember the library of the grandfather or reading all the books. It's about connecting external information that even has nothing to see with one side, like economy, like astrology to economy, or different things, or using all the mystic even concepts to learn life in a more expanded way. Is not about just copy the library of the school, of the traditional school. It's about learning different phenomena of life. And the more you will have knowledge of things that are happening in other field of life, it will give you answers to complex issues. But I think that understanding technology, even that we are feeling that we want to avoid technology, we cannot avoid, we need to use the tools of the time, but to use it to our favor. For example, right now we are all stuck in the jail of iOS and Apple in general and Microsoft. This is another way of learning how to work with Linux, maybe, like a more open source operating system. So we'll need to learn how, it's like educating ourselves on technology. I remember my struggles to come back to have computer in 2000 or almost 2000, because even internet has began. I remember I took some classes how to use Windows. What is it? Because the first computer I had in 85 was very 4 colors, for Pac-Man or something like this. Learning how the blockchain is working, for example, will help you to keep them safer in a new way. Interacting with people on the web. I think that part of the revolution for freedom is going to be through the web. Why again the web? Because it's internet. Internet is Aquarius, is connecting pixels, our vibration right now. Thanks to the technology, we are right now seeing each other from another continent. And we need to use it to create a change. And right now, all the lack of freedom is about the knowledge. They are censoring another perspective and people sharing their truth just to maintain everybody in the same narrative. When people will have more access to understand what's really going on, and if we will be able to create more transparency about what is happening in different places of the world, what opportunities, and we will give equal opportunities for discriminated countries, that has, for example, in Argentina, they are not allowed, if I know correctly, until last year, to have any activity above $1,000 or to send. It's like they are very limited to stack in their own economy system. So, for example, the crypto is doing a bypass on it. And many countries in Africa are right now doing business with crypto. They are bypassing those sort of old obstacles. But more people need to know how to use those technology and how to accept new sense of money or value, and to go out from the paradigm of the dollar, for example. You know, in South America, people are in love in the word dollar. Everybody wants dollars. They just want dollar because how they were educated for 500 years. And this was a slavery. And now it's another sense of slavery under their laws after being so much in the comfort, being so much in Taros, in the comfort. So it's so easy to control the person. But that's why we need to move now from the comfort zone. We need to move from the comfort zone to learn new things, to connect with other minds, with another channels, with another options, with another business concepts, to take back the power, first of all, on the knowledge and the distribution of the internet and the opportunities that we could do through the internet. It seems that the universe will create sort of challenge extra to limit us in the physical world that may be manifested by extra restrictions from government, but in order to push us to connect with the source or with the sky in a way that is unlimited. And back to connect back, because we are human beings, we are social beings. And the word social is also Aquarius. Social, society is Aquarius. And right now Saturn is in Aquarius. So Saturn is control on people, on technology. But we can use it also to our favor. We need to behave under those energies and to improve technologies and to continue upgrading and updating ourselves with what is coming next. And who will not have, who survived in the last at least 2 years? People that had ways to work online. People that were stuck in physical business felt stuck. So educating ourselves, knowing to use technology to our favor, it's a big, it's important card.
Absolutely. And on that note, Bitcoin, I mean, it's starting to become a big topic. We've heard about it for years. It's starting to become a big topic. I'm an investor. I've got a group of about 700 investors, and I've got a Bitcoin mining fund. We're just about to roll out our second Bitcoin mining fund. A lot of people are coming on board that never really, they're like, hey, I think it's time that I have to jump on board on this because it looks like, this is where things are going. Where do you see Bitcoin going over the next few years?
So I have a model that I'm projecting price and momentum ahead. And I already said in February this year, 2021, that I usually am creating the models for 6 months ahead to stay on more accurate frame. But I triggered the method and say that into the middle of 2023, the current bull run, we should see, and if the dollar continues in the same sort of battle, in $250-$100 for Bitcoin. This is telling that the dollar is losing more power, purchasing power in hyperinflation, and seems that is going to be a great event in the economy during this year, 2022, because this is what is actually going to create this parabolic move. I look right now on the entire crypto space, and I'm very much optimistic to what is happening with Ethereum and many other networks that's starting to be installed in the air, like Matic right now, that is taking new platform to work on this. And it's very good not to be dependent only on one solution, Bitcoin, that was a great project to begin, and it still will be like the father of all those coins. Right now, you see, they just approved the ETF future. And as we are speaking, it just was a manipulation on the Bitcoin price. But what amazing to see that Ethereum is still above the 4K, meaning that and taking extra market cap because it's more of a natural market. And we will need to fight for what is alternative, what is more natural and not artificial. What Ethereum is doing, a true use case on the internet with a MetaMask to be, let's call it, the ingredient to feed the Web3 concept. So we could distribute information in a way that could not be censored or deleted, and not to store everything in one server of one company. So information could flow in a more transparent way. It's going to be the internet of value. It's another shift. Many people took time, and in South America for the last decade, it was so hard for South Americans, for the example I know, even for people from Spain, to pay online. Like, for them, in the mind, internet is free. Internet is always for free. You are not putting money, because the beginning of this is like, it's scam. People stealing money from never put the credit card on the internet. It took to people time to feel safe doing purchasing online. But we are speaking now about internet of value. Information has value, and database has value. And this is the gas fees and whatever, I'm not a specialist to explain technology and engineer, but understanding the process and how it's aligned with those energies. And I believe that in the next decade, it's going to be some amazing improvements of programmers that will come together and will create amazing alternative solutions that will be based on Ethereum or Solana or whatever other coin, or Shiba, or who knows, that is all working on an open source code. Maybe even each platform will work on another coin, and we will have like the Uniswap options just to convert the coins between the needs and the services. And will arrive maybe to the end of the decade in a very instant way to do the conversion. But first of all, we need to accumulate the bags, at least. That more people will hold or will learn how to hold and to accept the new paradigm of the crypto concept. And it's not just in order to buy a new sofa or a new car or a new mansion. This is a big shift of paradigm, because usually we worked hard because we wanted to achieve physical things, and the opposite energy is working against accumulation. Like the thing that is coming to my mind is shared. In order to avoid they are taking the control from us, like applying a sort of a communism laws, is people voluntarily start creating things that it will be us shared, and it's not you individual front of the cooperation, but this is a group. So it's become like companies against companies. So we become sort of companies. We are sort of imitating their behavior. So it's important to act like a company, like imitating their behavior in order to find the freedom inside this. Because all those CEOs of the companies, they are having very low restrictions on them. There are exceptions. The restrictions are on individuals. That's why it's so important to be part of a company or to become a company. Just to be able to be your own boss in a way, in order to help and to connect individuals under the same umbrella. And in the end of the day, in the long-term perspective, is to connect sources and resources, to acquire back the internet, the information, and to enable the wealth to be more equal, because it's concentrated right now. The money, even that is devaluating itself, is not arriving to 60% of humanity. It's stuck in a very limited group of population. So it's about educating also, educating people, open their eyes, and to allow them to have. Many people in Africa and in South Asia don't even have a bank account. They just need to survive with whatever they find. But the internet will connect people to a much bigger part. And we saw in the last decade how many protests actually initiated through Facebook, through the internet. When people are connected in one message or knowing and protecting, we are strong. But working as individual is very, very limited.
The day of the individual is over, and it's time to work in our own collectives that are aligned with our own values and morals and visions, and collectives where we can support ourselves, even simple things like you mentioned before about the hippie lifestyle, where people are giving to the community and growing their own vegetables and, supporting each other. So they're not so sucking on the nipple of the government and the system and everything like this. And Osha, I know we've come on the hour here. There's so many rabbit holes that I want to go down. I really could just go everywhere with these conversations. I really, really enjoy speaking to you. I think this would be, great to have a round 2, but I know you've got to go. But before we take off, how do Freedom Hackers stay connected with you and keep the conversation going?
I'm still running the patreon.com/Osher Echo. You could write the link below.
We'll provide the links.
Yeah, I'm on purpose limiting the amount of members in order to have a more family treat. And just to follow my YouTube channel for now, I'm going to do some changes. I want to find new ways how to interact with people and to share great content and a lot of content for free. And I'm figuring out right now new ways of contributing and educating others. So for now, it's easy to find me, Osher Astrology. With whatever you find, you will reach me somehow.
Yeah, and we'll have the links in the show notes, guys. You can go to YouTube and check out Osha Astro-Finance. You can also go to patreon.com and check out Ecoscopia. Words can't express how much gratitude I've got for you, mate. I really love what you're doing. You're such an authentic, honest, loving, genuine, heart-centered being. And I really love the message that you spread and your authenticity. And, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on the show here with us today, mate.
My pleasure from all the heart.
Excellent. And for all of our Freedom Hackers, this is Freedom Hack Radio. I'm your host, Bryce Robertson. And until next week, live large and live free. G'day, this is Bryce Robertson. I'm your host here at Freedom Hack Radio, and I truly, truly hope that you got a ton of value out of the episode that we just shared with you. And if you did, make sure to subscribe on your YouTube channel. Make sure to subscribe to your favorite podcasting platform. Hit the notification button so you can find out about the next episodes as they come out. Because if you haven't achieved financial time and location freedom, you really need to be dialed in here. So make sure to subscribe and follow us along as you grow on your path to financial, time, and location freedom here at Freedom Hack Radio.